So let's respect the Buddha before we get started. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo thasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhasse. Namo thasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhasse. Namo thasse bhagavatu arahatu Sammā sambuddhasse. Good evening, Dhamma friends. Do we have newcomers? I saw one. Oh, there are 3 newcomers. Do you have a plan to catch up with our previous lessons? We have notes actually for many lessons, especially the very needy ones. If you can go back here, today is day 11. We have notes except for the first day. That means 10 notes, including today. I think it's good to review those notes so you can catch up with the previous lessons. And I wanted to say that you might have perhaps seen there is a review by the end of this month. There's a slight misunderstanding that it is not the review of the sutta. We can't finish the sutta. It is a review of the Noble Eightfold Path. Because I'm leaving on this month's 29th of this month to Sri Lanka, I have been discussing to do it online. Otherwise we kind of like breaking up the class. So it is not a review of the whole sutta. By that day, I mean the review day, what we are going to do is reviewing the 8 path factors. We have to do a lot. We haven't done Dukkha Arya Satya, Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satya, Dukkha Nirodha Arya Satya. This is only the Dukkha Nirodha Gamini Patipada Arya Satya. And we have to discuss what is the Parivatta, what is Dwadasakara, and how the cry went up to different heavens and Brahma worlds and Sotapatti. That is where we're going to finish the sutta. Alright? That's the plan. The Vihara will inform you officially, but just to let you know, so you know the plan. Today we will be discussing about one of the very important topics in today's world. What is it? Sammā Sati. So mindfulness is not our topic today. Our topic is right mindfulness. Right? Mindfulness is everywhere, but right mindfulness is hardly anywhere. Now you understand there are some particular areas that you may need to understand. The first thing that I want you to think about is that mindfulness, this word, and then the whole bunch of conversations that have been going for many, many decades come from a minimalistic approach to become a better person. I would say becoming a non-judgmental person. This idea of becoming a non-judgmental person, right? So this is a minimalist approach to right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is a very structured practice. I will tell you why. Let me read this. Becoming a non-judgmental observer. This is what the Western mindfulness talks about. Right? You're going to be non-judgmental. And then you're going to be fully aware of the present moment. Being non-judgmental and being fully aware of the present moment. And then you spend your time. And practicing the 4 parts of mindfulness, I would say right mindfulness, just to the extent necessary for the overcoming of covetousness and grief for the world. Now, this is the right mindfulness. So, becoming a non-judgmental observer while being fully aware of the present moment. It's the Western mindfulness. But practicing the 4 Satipatthanas, 4 parts of right mindfulness is what we call by Sammā Sati. Right? There's a clear difference. That means basically overcoming greed and hatred. What is the basic main purpose of right mindfulness? How do we understand this thing? Ātāpi sampajāno satimā vinayya loke abhijjhā domanassa. Okay. Katame chattaru ida bhikkave bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassī viharati. Each Satipatthana presents this part. Ātāpi sampajāno satimā, 3 aspects. Vinayya loke abhijjhā domanassa. This phrase keeps appearing after all Satipatthana introductions. That makes right mindfulness very unique, different from the Western, I would say, just mere mindfulness. Now, before this, let me ask you something. Now, let's go back to our previous week, last week. What did we discuss last week? Some of you were not present. We discussed about Sammā Vāyāmo. What is Sammā Vāyāmo? Let me do a kind of a quick review. A review should come from you. What is Sammā Vāyāmo? Huh? There are 4 parts of the right effort. Sammā Vāyāmo. Sammā Vāyāmo means without right effort, we cannot practice anything. Right? You have no energy, no effort. And I introduce right effort in 4 ways. The first one was preventing inactive akusala states. So, bringing your right effort to prevent inactive akusala states of your mind. Second, unfortunately now akusalas have come to you. Then, removing the active akusala states of the mind. They are already with you. The third one, creating inactive kusala states of the mind. They are not with you, but you are trying to create. Then, maintaining, deepening, sustaining the active kusala states of the mind. This is Sammā Vāyāma. Now, when you are doing that well, then you are going on to, then you are well prepared to go into Sammā Sati. Now, this aspect is missing in the Western mindfulness. They are not talking about kusala akusala perspective. They just sit down and they are not trying to be judgmental about anything, and they are fully aware of the moment. What price of that? In Buddhist teaching, it is good for them, but for us, it is not what we understand by right mindfulness. It is mindfulness. From today, when you discuss this topic with anybody, mindfulness is one thing, right mindfulness is another thing. They are 2 different things. If somebody is trying to incorporate both of them as synonymous, it is not going to work. Because here, the opposite part of right mindfulness is wrong mindfulness, Micchā Sati. Micchā Sati means mere mindfulness. Mere mindfulness is being maintained by many. Intelligence, drug cartels, criminals, spy people, they are practicing, right? Law enforcement, right? They have good mindfulness and bad mindfulness, right? Their surveillance goes well, sometimes not working. So, right mindfulness based on kusala perspective. You can't hurt anybody. You can't do any akusalas with that right mindfulness. It is basically rooted in kusala. So, when you have Sammā Vāyāmo, you are, as I told you, you are very much into Sammā Sati. It is very easy for you to then at that point come down to the Sammā Vāyāma. Now, I wanted to mention once again, I think you know that every noble path factor must be practiced by another 3 noble path factors. What are they? Right view, right effort, right mindfulness. Where is it mentioned? Where is this teaching mentioned? Does Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta mention about this? Huh? Does the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta say when you practice these 8 noble path factors, you must practice along with the 3 supportive noble path factors? Does it say so? Huh? Yes or no? Looks like you haven't read it. You just listening to the monks. Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Yeah. I'm blessed now. Right? The sutta does not mention anything about it. Then Saccavibhanga Sutta, the second sutta which the Arahant Sariputta gave about the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta's summary, it doesn't mention too. Go down here. It has not given here, right? Maha Chattarisaka Sutta is the sutta which says that this practice should be practiced along with other 3 path factors. That means whenever you see this precious teaching in the Buddhist text, it is not always inclusively discussed. That's why I always say, do not just read suttas online without proper consultation. You don't know. You should read, you should learn under a good teacher, maybe a lay person, maybe a monk, because they have expertise. Otherwise, you have read something, you think that is correct. It's a serious misunderstanding. Now, let's go to the basic information. Now, where do we find Maha Chattarisaka? Let me type that for you again. Yeah, this one. Maha Chattarisaka Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 117. This is where we understand a very critical analysis of the Noble Eightfold Path. Majjhima Nikaya 117. Right. Now we understand when we are going to practice Sammā Sati for the first time, we have to pass through a lot of other stages of our path. What are they? Sammā Diṭṭhi, Sammā Saṅkappā, Sammā Vācā, Sammā Kammanta, Sammā Ājīva, Sammā Vāyāmo. Why it takes 6 noble path factors to get here? Why can't you jump into this practice right away? Is it not possible to jump into this practice? Like how many teachers teach you, you practice Satipatthanas, it's okay. Is it easy? I mean, what is going on? They strip out, they trim down this part, take out, like the yoga in the West, other places. It's not the real yoga like India. And they show you, this is yoga, It's not the yoga, the real yoga. They strip out whatever the marketing part, whatever the interesting part for them, and then show, exhibit, display, market that part. So we can't trim only this section and then tell that we can do it as a stand-alone practice. It's a serious mistake too. That is why I was trying to tell you since the beginning, the starting point is Sammā Diṭṭhi, Sammā Saṅkappā after. They are parts of the elementary level of your Paññā. I said Paññā, Sīla, Samadhi, Paññā again. And then you go down to the Sīla part. Without Sīla, you are not having a good support for your this Samadhi practice. Right? Because let's say you are going to meditate tonight. Let's say you were very bad today. You lied to somebody, you cheated on, of course not. And then you did something wrong. These things keep coming onto your mind because we have to be honest to us in our practice. That is why the Buddha said that Sīla is very important, highly important. But not too much sila, not extreme sila. Some level of sila is very necessary. And then vayamo part. Then you are here with the sati. You can't take it out and practice separately. It is a combined, integrated practice along with all these primary factors. We have two suttas where we understand satipatthanas. Why do I say satipatthana? Because it says under the Satcha Vibhanga Sutta, Sammā Sati is for satipatthanas. If you go down to Satcha Vibhanga Sutta, let's see that. Because Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta does not mention what is Sammā Sati. It simply says Sammā Sati, Sammā Samadhi. So we have to go to Satcha Vibhanga Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya 141. You can see it in a Pali. You can see here. Katama chausu samma vayamo. Katama chausu samma sati idhausu bhikkave kaye kayanupasse viharati atapi sampajano satima vini loki apicchado manasang, so and so forth. Samma sati. The proper definition of all these noble path factors was primarily introduced by Arahant Sariputta in the Satcha Vibhanga Sutta. But the analysis was given in the critical one was given in the Mahacattāya Sutta. The simple introduction was given in the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. Right? Okay, now let's understand from here. Kaya Kayanupassana. Now we know Kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhamma. They are very famous aspects of Satipatthana. First, let's discuss about Satipatthana. There are two suttas that go by the name of Satipatthana. Majjhima Nikaya 10 Satipatthana Sutta. The longer version is given in the Digha Nikaya, Mahasatipatthana Sutta. Reading the shorter version is enough because it has everything. The difference between Mahasatipatthana Sutta and Satipatthana Sutta is that the Dhammanupassana part has been more detailed in the Digha Nikaya's one, but it's the same. Okay, first let's discuss about the word Satipatthana. Satipatthana. How do we understand this word? Now there are two, I would say, there are two ways to understand this Pali word. Sati Patthana or Sati Upatthana. Anybody is familiar these two ways? Satipatthana. Now Patthana, it comes up with the English translation. Patthana means establishing, establish. You have another Patthana, Abhidhamma Pitaka. Patthana Pakarana, right? Abhidhamma has 7 books. One is Patthana Pakarana. It's the largest Abhidhamma book, last Abhidhamma book. All the information. So, Patthana means establishing right mindfulness. Establish. Upatthana means placing near. That means placing Sati near somewhere. That means we are going to place Sati near our actions, near my thinking, near my other activities and all that. Scholars agree that Sati Upatthana is what we find out in many contexts in the Sutta Pitaka. That means actually we have to bring Sati to all our activities. Right? If we simply understand it, now let's say somebody is going to sit down here on the floor, telling all of us that I am going to meditate now. But he or she is going to sit down into a moment where Lobha Dosa Moha are highly withdrawn. There is no Lobha Dosa Moha that person will have to encounter a lot because comfort zone and no distractions, and he or she knows what she's going to do. But where our Lobha Dosa Moha perpetually arising, they are perpetually arising in our normal life. If you confine Satipatthana teaching only to a sitting practice, then Satipatthana practice is going to be a very liminal, very limited practice, which is not. Satipatthana is a all-pervading practice, right? It is the practice where you're going to take care of your thoughts. Troubling thoughts usually perpetually come up when you are not in the comfort zone, right? For the spirituality. At home, outside, that is where you going to face with lot of challenges. So Satipatthana practice cannot be limited to a certain small practice. You will practice something over there. It has to go to your daily life. That is how we understand the meaning of Upatthana. So that means you have to place right mindfulness with all your other activities, while you are talking, while you are doing any other activity. So I think Sati Upatthana makes sense, as scholars suggest, because you are placing right mindfulness with whatever other activities that you are engaged with. Now let's discuss about Sati. Can we give a meaning to the Pali word called Sati without the context? Now a lot of people are going to translate what is Sati. Can we, according to this context, as I mentioned to you earlier, can we give a standalone meaning to this word? We cannot. Why? Sati plays different context in the canon. Sati could be memory, right? Now there's a word called Satimanta. Satimā, there's a lady in the canon, right? Satimanta, which means someone who can memorize everything. Who is that? Bhante Anand. He can memorize, he can tell anything by memory. But did it help him to become an arahant? Memory doesn't help a lot. Although you know everything, although you carry everything here, like a pen drive, it doesn't help you. Till you bring that practice, bring that knowledge as a practice, right? Whatever the food you are having, but you are living with the food that are being properly digested. Other food is not going to work for you, right? The same way, although you quantify Dhamma knowledge, it doesn't help a lot rather than you qualify Dhamma knowledge as an application. So it didn't help Bhante Ananda, but he carried a lot of things. It was good in a way. Sati has then memory. Then Sati has different other connotations, other meanings too. So without knowing the specific context, we cannot say what Sati is. Sati is not basically mindfulness in that context. Now see the stock phrase in the Satipatthana Sutta. What does it say? Ekayano ayang bhikkhave maggo sattanang visuddhya soka paridevanang samatikkamaya dukkha domanassanang atthangamaya nyayassa adhigamaya nibbanassa satchikriya yadidang chattaru satipatthana. Now Satipatthanas were introduced this way. How it was given? This is the direct path for the purification of beings. Direct path. For the surmounting of sorrow, soka, parideva, lamentation. Dukkha domanassanang atthangamaya, for the disappearance of dukkha and domanassa, discontent. Nyayassa adhigamaya, for acquiring the true method. Nibbanasa satchikriyaya, for the realization of Nibbana. It has been highly given, in high regard. But this has a fundamental issue. Why is it? Why is it? Now we know Noble Eightfold Path is the direct path. Satipatthana practice is only a component of that practice. Right? Satipatthana practice is a part of that noble practice. So we never know how it happened here. Probably these suttas have been maintained by many Sangha over many centuries. Anyways, we understand this is a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. So then you can't say this is the only path, direct path. Direct path, only path, greatest path is the Noble Eightfold Path. Now, a lot of people who don't know this, they take it as a direct path. They're going to teach that way. Satipatthana is the only path, direct path. They don't know what it is. They haven't read about other suttas actually. Right? Anyways, the rest of the thing is clear. They are making sense. And let's keep going. Okay, what are the other contexts of Sati? Sati is a Bojjanga, a noble path factor. It is a Bala, power, spiritual power. It's a spiritual faculty. Right? Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. There are 5 spiritual powers and 5 spiritual faculties. So that means Sati is not only what you call by the right mindfulness. It goes beyond. Now you might think, what is Miccha Sati again? Now if the 4 Satipatthanas are right mindfulness, then what would be the wrong mindfulness? Now if mindfulness is good, how come there is a wrong mindfulness? Right? If mindfulness is such good, how come Buddha categorizes there's a wrong mindfulness? That means some people practice it in a wrong way. Then what could be the wrong mindfulness? Huh? Judgmental? I think when you want mindfulness, you are not judging anything, right? I think that's pretty normal, right? I think nobody's going to judge, even in the wrong mindfulness. What's the problem here? If any mindfulness practice is devoid of, absent from what you call not removing abhijja domanassa in the world, that is miccha sati. Let's go back here. As you can see here, kaye kaya anupassye viharati, vedanasu vedananupassye viharati, chitte chittanupassye viharati, dhamme dhammanupassye viharati, atapi sampajano satima vinaya loke abhijja. And this part is missing in the mindfulness, just mere mindfulness practice. What is it? Just to the extent necessary for overcoming covetousness and sorrow, or covetousness and grief in regard to the world. Is this part in the general mindfulness? Do they say that to you? Do they tell you that when you practice mindfulness meditation, you must overcome your abhijja and then the domanassa in regard to the world? Do they say that? They never say that. That is wrong mindfulness then. Right? No. So today you knew what is wrong mindfulness and what is right mindfulness. I think you may not be able to still understand what they are, abhijja domanassa. I think I have to explain them. And also these words. Atapi sampajano satima. We have to clearly understand these 3 words. And vinaya loke abhijja domanassa. For that, I have a note down over there. See. The practice of satipatthanas, or I would say Sammā Sati, is a very challenging practice to many people because of a reason. It is not about the individual parts of the satipatthanas. It is not that they don't know about the first satipatthana, not that the second satipatthana, or the third, fourth. It is that they do not know the methodology of the practice. And now we're going to be talking the methodology. How can the 4 satipatthanas, right mindfulness, be practiced and worked? You know what are the contents of satipatthana. But now I'm going to teach you the issue. They have a huge misunderstanding, not misunderstanding, probably they don't know about this methodology. Prior to learning the specific exercises, I would call all these exercises under Kayanupassana, Vedana, Chitta Dhamma. There are 23. Prior to learning them, it is necessary to understand how each exercise should be practiced. The methodology involves two aspects to which one must pay close attention and exert effort while practicing. This is the first one. The second one goes down here. All right, this is very important. First one, Atapi Sampajano Satima Vinaya Loki Apichatuma. That means in each, whatever the Satipatthanas you're going to practice, which is very friendly with you, you must practice that particular Satipatthana exercise through these four. Let's understand what they are. Atapi, you see here, Atapi Sampajano Satima Vinaya Loki Apichatuma. It's pretty clear. The suttas clearly mention them. Atapi. What does Atapi mean? Atapi? Better, right? Atapi? Enthusiasm. Now we normally translate this to be, we have a translation over here. Let's see that. Diligent. Diligent. That means it has sort of appamada. Diligence, at the same time ardent. Where are you ardent at? You are ardent about your kusala practice, akusala practice. This means right effort. Nothing other than that. You know what I'm going to show you here is that these three words clearly say the three supportive factors. Atapi is Sammā Vāyāma, Sampajana is right view, Sammā Diṭṭhi, Satimā is right mindfulness. This is what we have to understand. Those three noble path factors that are supportive to all the other noble path factors play the role. It is clearly given. Okay. See, Atapi means you have lots of right effort in terms of those four aspects. What are they? Prevention of akusala states, removing of your akusala states, creating new kusalas, and then maintaining your kusala state. And this is what we understand by Atapi. Have you ever incorporated this into your right mindfulness practice? Not near anywhere. Not near anywhere. I hope in the foreseeable future you're going to incorporate. Atapi, right effort. Sampajano, this is an interesting word. Sampajano. Pajano. Pajanati, the word is pajanati. We have another word called pajanati. Pajanati mean? Pajanati. You can search if you want. Some Pali dictionaries are coming up. Pajanati. Knows clearly. Knows clearly. Right? You have to search like that. You see? Pajanati. Panya is the verb stem and knows clearly. So clear knowing. But here there is another word. Sampajano. Sampajanati. Not even you clearly know, you clearly know fully. Sam means in a good way, wholesome way, right? That means how can you do that? How will you be given that skill? Through Sammā Diṭṭhi. Otherwise you can't do that. How do you separate out wrong mindfulness from right mindfulness? How do you distinguish right mindfulness from wrong mindfulness? A good amount of right view. So, Sampajano. Atapi means right effort. Then, Sampajano means right view, which means knowing clearly and fully, holistically, in a wholesome way. Then, Satimā. Sati means right mindfulness. Then, Ma means Someone who has it. Now this is a female suffix. You can call somebody Satima. Buddhima. Buddhima means someone who has intelligence. Buddhima. Satima. Right? Ma is a female suffix in Pali. That means Atapi Sampaja Satima means you have right mindfulness. Right? These are the 3 supportive factors. I will show you here. See? Right view, right effort, right mindfulness. See? This side. These 3 are supportive to all these 8. If I make it smaller, you can see that. See? They are supportive to each. Right? Even to this one. Right? So also the others. Then Vinaya loke abhijja domanassaṃ. This is interesting. Vinaya. What is Vinaya? Have we ever found out this kind of a verb form? Tittang charang nisinnova sayanova yavatassa vigatamiddo etang sating aditteya. Aditteya vinaya. Same. What is the meaning of that stanza? Where is it mentioned? Where is that verse mentioned? Given? Etang sating, I would say, tittang charang nisinnova sayanova yavatassa vigatamiddo etang sating aditteya brahmametang viharang idama. Where is this mentioned? Karaniyametta sutta. It took time to calibrate. Right? What does it say? Whether you stand, whether you sit, whether you lie down, as long as you are awake. Because when you sleep, you can't practice meditation, right? You can't do that. Yavatassa vigatamiddo means as long as you are awake. Etang sating aditteya. May you bring your mind, your thoughts to this particular state of the mind. Metta. Brahmametang viharang. This is the highest mentality, attitude. Now you tell people, she has an attitude. He has an attitude. This is the highest attitude, metta. Metta is the highest attitude in the Dhamma practice. Whatever things you are doing, if you have metta, you speak with metta, you think with metta, you act with metta. You are such a very kind, beautiful being at that point. Right? So, aditteya means practice, another way of saying the future sense. Vinaya means overcome or discipline or overcome, I would say. Loke means world. Which world is that? 5 continents? Now the Buddha asks us to overcome abhijja and domanassa in regard to the world. This world is, where is this world located? Where is our world? Our world exists within the sense faculties, right? Or ayatanas. 5 sense faculties or 12 ayatanas. What are they? Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana is our internal, our world. Or we have Chakku, Sota, Gana, Jivha, Kaya, Mana, Rupa, Saddha, Gandha, Rasa, Pottabha, Dhamma. 12 types of sense bases. The Buddha said this is our internal world. We think the world is outside. That is the physical world. It is not the real world. I think I shared with you about that story, Rohitassa Sutta, some times ago, right? Remember? I think I shared with you. In the Rohitassa Sutta, Rohitassa was a Devaputta. He one day approached the Buddha and said to the Buddha, Bhante, in my last life, I was a very powerful ascetic. I can skywalk. I can skywalk. Not that you skywalk maybe sometimes between the skyscrapers. This skywalk is pretty amazing. He said, my one foot is in the Eastern Ocean, the other foot in the Western Ocean. So he went skywalking looking for the end of the universe. He only stopped for eating and other things. But halfway of the journey, he died. Bhante, I want to find out the end of the world. He said, you can't find it. Nobody can find it. This universe is such spacious. Then the Buddha said, the true world exists in this one fathom body. This one fathom body with perception. Imasming viva vyama matte kale bare sasanyemme dukkha ariya satcham panyapeme. Dukkha samudaya ariya satcham panya. The Buddha says, where is Nibbana? In this one fathom body. Don't look for Nibbana outside. Very good statement. You are going to look for Nibbana outside, in temples, monasteries, with some monks, in some books. It is not anywhere. It is not even the computer. It is this perceptive, one fathom perceptive body. Find it out. If you are skilled enough, you will find it out. You will be able to find out. Then the Buddha says, real world is not there. You could have found this one. Now I'm going to teach you the real world is here. With this one fathom body, which has, you could call it 5 aggregates or maybe 12 sense spaces. You could also say 18 elements, chakku, dhatu, rupa dhatu and all that. Whatever it is given in this context. Loke means our world, our internal world. The Buddha says, here we have to overcome abhijja and domanassa in regard to our internal world. This is the purpose of the right mindfulness. If you do anapanasati, if you do walking meditation, if you do Vedananupassana, if you do Chittanupassana, if you do Dhammanupassana, this must be your purpose. If you are deviating from this, it is not going to be right mindfulness. It is going to be wrong mindfulness. But still we haven't been able to find out what is abhijja. What is abhijja? See this word? Abhijja, domanassa. Now we have to understand, because Buddha asks us to overcome these two in our right mindfulness practice. If we are not able to do that, it's not going to be right mindfulness. Now, can you overcome them while sitting down? Yes, to some extent. But most of that practice comes from our daily activities. Will you have abhijja when you are seated? Will you have a grief while you are seated? Not that much. Excessive amount of abhijja, domanassa come from while you are doing other things. Then what is abhijja? Strong lobha. We call it covetousness. This is called covetousness. Right? Covetousness. What is covetousness? Covetousness means strong lobha, not the mere lobha, not the normal lobha. Right? Now in some of the suttas, they talk about another lobha, visama lobha. Now covetousness is about your personal things. You are very greedy, so much greedy about what you have, your properties, your everything, your knowledge, whatever you have, that is covetousness. But there are some people who are more greedy about what other people have. They have no authority. They have no sense of possession. But they are greedy about what other people have. It is called visama lobha. It's another dimension. You don't need to think about it here. Covetousness means you have strong lobha. The strong lobha has to be overcome. Second is domanassa. What is domanassa? We have two words here, dukkha and domanassa. What are these two terms? Dukkha means dukkha here in this context. Dukkha here means physical pain. Here means physical pain. Domanassa means mental pain. This is a way to understand the grief. Dukkha domanassa. So, but when you come here, it is more about grief. What is grief? Sadness, sorrow, lamentation. What is the underlying akusala here? What could be the underlying akusala of sorrow, grief, lamentation, sadness, frustration? What is it? Huh? Hatred, those, because you don't like to accept what happened. Somebody passes away, you don't like to accept it. Time heals you. After many, many months, many, many years, then you accept by yourself. Still you are struggling to accept that. You are thinking so good about somebody, suddenly something is going to happen with that person. Right? You are asked to accept, but you are not going to accept because you have been building something, a good sense of mind about that particular person. Maybe an idea. So here, domanassa means grief. Grief means you should be able to overcome your grief. That means sadness, sorrow, lamentation, all these dosa-based akusala states. So have you done right mindfulness practice this way? This is an issue. So whatever the exercise you are practicing out of the Satipatthanas, there are 23, you should bring them to this framework initially. If you are not going to do that, it's going to be mindfulness, mostly leading to wrong mindfulness. Second aspect, more importantly, where is it mentioned? This part. Now this part is mentioned at the beginning. Atapi sampajano, you can see here. Katama chauso Sammā Sati idhauso bhikkhu. Let me make it a little bigger. Yeah. Katama chauso Sammā Sati idhauso bhikkhu kāye kāyanupassi viharati. Atapi sampajano satimā vinaya loki apicchātu manassa vedanasu. The phrase keeps going at the beginning of all Satipatthanas. Even if you go to Satipatthana Sutta, let's see the Satipatthana Sutta. You can find it out. Satipatthana Sutta. Okay, this one. Let's go to the Pali one. Okay, so here we find it at the beginning. Then let's go to each Satipatthana practice. You don't find it at the beginning, right? So under each Satipatthana practice, at the end of Satipatthana practice, you see the second aspect. This aspect is coming up over here. You can see here. Iti ajjattangva kāye kāyanupassīve. Ajjattangva bahiddāva ajjatta bahiddāva. Samudaya dhammanupassīva. Vaya dhammanupassīva. Samudaya vaya dhammanupassīva. Atti kāyoti panassa sati paccupattitā hoti. Yāvadeva jnānamattāya patissati mattāya anisitoja viharati nacha kinchi loke upādi. This phrase keeps coming at the end of all Satipatthana exercises. Let's see. Now this is Anapanasati. You can see here. Second, we can see Iriyapata, 4 postures. Let's go down over here. Iti ajjattangva kāye kāyanupassi. See, it is given here. If you go to Sampajana, full awareness part, you can again see here, iti ajjattangva. If you go to 9 anatomical parts, level of kāyanupassana, you see it here. Iti ajjattangva kāye kāyanupassi. If you go to all the other practices of all Satipatthanas, you see this phrase. Now we're going to understand what is this. This is how you're going to practice after that. Now first, you're going to practice it. Atapi, sampajano, satimā, vinaya loke, abhicca domanassa. Second, you're going to practice the same practice exercise as ajjatta, bahidda, ajjatta, bahidda. What is ajjatta? Now let's take one exercise. What exercise would you like to take here? Anapanasati. Right? You take Anapanasati practice. One of the very highest practices of Kanupassana. Then you are going to initially practice Anapanasati as Ajjat. Ajjat means looking at your body, your breaths, how you are watching your breaths, right? So you do it by by taking you as a reference. Bahidda means, now this is a little complicating, not complicating, confusing to you maybe. Looking at how other people breathe. What does it mean? Do I have to watch somebody, you are breathing, so I'm going to think about it? No, not that way. You know how everybody is breathing. You have a certain way of understanding how other beings are living, how other beings are spending their life. And that understanding should come to your mind. Other people are also breathing. Otherwise they cannot live, they have to die. If they, that thing. Why did the Buddha say this particular part, Bahiddhava? He knew when people are going to practice only watching their parts of the body, they will sometimes, mostly probably, develop some Sakkaya Ditthi. He knew that. So he said, not only you, but also about other people. Then you know it is universal. So you can't say that it is only you are breathing and you are making it as a reference for your meditation. Very interesting. Bahiddha means contemplating body externally, how other people do that. If you take it, the 4 postures, how other people walk, how other people stand, how other people sit down, how other people do other things. If you take Sampajana, how other people do certain actions, right? So we must practice it as internally, which means watching over our way of doing it and watching over how other people do it, Bahiddha. Then not even separately as internally, externally, Ajjata Bahiddha. At a certain point you're going to see, I also breathe, they also breathe together. Make sense? That is the first way. I call it refrain, which means you have to be very careful. At this part, I call the first part as definition. This is how the mindfulness are given. So you know the purpose of each exercises. And then second, these are things that you particularly have to practice along the Satipatthanas. Second aspect here is, the second way of refraining under the aspect is, you should be able to see Samudaya, Vaya, Samudaya, Vaya. Samudaya means, now when you are practicing the breathing meditation, for example, what are you supposed to look at? Initially you are watching your breaths, right? You are simply watching over your breaths. Now we have come down to watching your breaths and other people's, how they may breathe in your own way. Not that you are careful about somebody, you are breathing now, something like that. You are just referring to certain other people. Here at this part, you are trying to see how does your breath arise. What does it mean? What does it mean? Vipassana. You see the arising part, you see how it stays, how it goes away. What is it? Vipassana. Now for those people who are trying to say Vipassana is a meditation, this has everything. Satipatthana Sammā Sati has everything. Sammā Sati has jhana, Sammā Sati has samatha, vipassana, everything. Don't call it in individual names. Call it Sammā Sati, which is going by 4 Satipatthanas. Samudaya means now while you are taking one exercise over here, you are thinking, I'm thinking, how does my breathing arise? How does it stay for a moment or for a very short time? How does it go away? How do I see my walking? I'm lifting my foot. I'm trying to put it down. Then how I'm going to keep that point of time. Then how does one pace of my walking happen, right? Maybe at a certain point I'm going to stop, slowly, gently turn around and then walk back. There is starting point, there is a staying point, there is a ending point. And in other words, we have another Dhamma classification to understand this. You know sankharas. Sankharas? What is sankhara? Sankhara has many meanings like Sati. The Buddha says, Tinimani bhikkave sankatasa sankata lakkanani. Monks, I say there are three inherent characteristics in regard to sankharas. Sankhara means basically what is made out of something else. Like we all are sankharas. I'm a sankhara of my mother and father. So are you. Everything is sankhara. What is not sankhara is nibbana. So those sankharas. So we are all constructed. Because we are finding how to decondition. We are conditioned, right? We are conditioned by something or somebody else. Nibbana is you're going to decondition. Trying to break the conditioning process. So he says, sankharas, like what we call by us, or constructed ones, they have three inherent characteristics. Uppado panyayati, I see a certain beginning. Vayo panyayati, I see a certain ending of everything. Then titassa anyatattam panyayati, I see a certain transformation, transitioning from the starting point, beginning point to the end point. Right? Same thing. Breathing starts, breathing ends. Between the starting and ending, there is a certain time. Like our life, like everything. Now you are going to use this aspect into your whatever the Satipatthana exercise. Be that breathing, be that walking, postures, be that sampajanas, be that 9 types of other things, be that elementary meditation, be that Vedananupassana, be that Chittanupassana, be that Dhammanupassana. You are going to incorporate this Vipassana attitude into each exercise. Now it's very interesting. Now let's say under the Dhammanupassana it says, okay, I have to see whether I have Kamachanda. Then I understand, yes, I had Kamachanda, but now that Kamachanda is not anymore with me. Why is it? I understand through the Samudaya part, Vaya part, Samudaya Vaya part. I bring this aspect into my each exercise. Then attikayoti va panassa sati pachupattita hoti yavadeva jnanamattaya patissati mattaya. Now this is about how we have to intensify our right mindfulness. Because right mindfulness is always swaying here and there. So we have to sort of keep it all the time. Right? It is kind of a negotiator in a hostage situation. If you are a negotiator in a hostage situation, somebody is trying to kill somebody else, and you have to play a role over there. If you get late, something can happen to that person, and something can happen to you. So that means mindfulness, right mindfulness, has to be carefully and then thoughtfully used at all times. Let's see. Now here Kayanupassana. Now under this we take Kayanupassana. You can take Dhammanupassana. You can take Chittanupassana or Vedananupassana. Attikayoti va panassati pachupatta. Right mindfulness, according to right mindfulness, that there is a body, Kaya, is established in me or somebody. Now you understand you have a body. At the same time, you understand right mindfulness is now established, or I would say it is near you, to the extent necessary for the bare knowledge and continuous mindfulness. Now here, jnanamattaya means for the bare knowledge. At the same time, patissati mattaya means continuous mindfulness. What does it mean? Bare knowledge. Now in order for us to keep our right mindfulness in regard to this particular exercise, breathing, we have to always create a sort of mental point, mental situation that I have the bare knowledge of what you call right mindfulness. It is not still consistent with something. At the same time, I need to understand I have to continuously keep it up. Right? Now, the last one says to us, what is the consistency of our right mindfulness? Anissitocha viharati, I dwell independently. Right? When you are trying to practice right mindfulness in this way, you become independent, right? And nacha kinchi loke upadiyati. You are not clinging to anything in this internal world, because clinging is the problem. So these are the two aspects you have to incorporate when you practice any satipatthanas. You can read it after go home. Here I have given 23 satipatthana practices. Kayanupassana has 14. Anapana, Iriyapata, Sampajana, Patikula Manasikara, Dhatu Manasikara, Navasivatika. Vedana has 3, Sukha, Dukkha, Adukkha, Masukha. It has been separated by Samisa, Niramisa. Wordly, unwordly. Wordly happiness, unwordly happiness. Wordly dukkha, unwordly dukkha. That means if monastics are going through dukkha, we could say unwordly. Right? Not I would say, unwordly dukkha. Right? Chittanupassana has 16 thoughts. Right? These are actually thoughts that can come to us. Lust, raga, dosa, moha, all these thoughts. I'm not going to explain all that because of the time. And finally, Dhammanupassana has only 5 aspects. They are relevant to Nivarana, Kanda, Ayatana, Bojjhanga, 4 Hariya Satya. How do we understand this part? Let's say now if you want to practice Dhammanupassana, this is the simple way. You take one of the hindrances, let's say sensual desire. Sensual desire arisen in me. Then Vyapada arisen in me. Then Tinamidda arisen in me. Right? So, because that these hindrances have arisen in you, you are trying to work toward the removal or withdrawal of those pancha nivaranas by using the Atapi Sampajano Satima Vinaya Loki Abhijjata Manasang aspect, and then the other one, Ajjata, Bahidya, and all that practices. Finally, before I am leaving you for a Q&A, 4 satipatthanas cannot be practiced without the path supportive component. You know what they are. Samma Ditti, Samma Vayama, Samma Sati again. Progression of 4 satipatthanas in one's practice. How? Now somebody might ask, how do I progress in my satipatthana practice? I think I told many weeks ago, the main practice of satipatthana is breathing. Why is it? Breathing is the most important practice of satipatthana. It doesn't mean that you're going to practice it all the time. You may do it time to time. But breathing is the easiest way to understand your emotional structures. The more you refine your breaths, the calmer you are. You can find out where are the issues. Where are my issues with my emotional structures? Let's say, how does my anger arise? How does my irritation arise? How does my nagging arise? How does my other small things arise? So you particularly understand. Then the other exercises are supportive. They are supportive. They cannot be practiced without breathing meditation to some extent, because you are not able to understand your emotional structures very well with them initially. But when you have a good level of breathing meditation, you are able to easily find out those issues with other exercises. See, I have given another way these 2 parts. Progression. See, although Anapanasati is at the bottom, but you go up, high up when you practice. Do we have to practice all these satipatthanas for practicing right mindfulness? Do we have to practice all these things? Do we have to practice Kaya, Vedana, Chittadhamma 4 together? How do we practice it? We start with Kayanupassana, but must we practice all these satipatthanas? Not necessarily. It depends. Some people like practicing Vedananupassana, but they have to start with Anapanasati. There are many examples where some people became even Arahant only by practicing one short satipatthana. Right? Don't have to worry about it. But what you have to worry about, whether you are doing even one satipatthana, one exercise in the proper way, incorporating these 2, definition and refrain part. That is the most important thing. Then finally, interconnectedness of the 4 Satipatthanas. Once again, I am going to say that breathing is the central part of Satipatthana practice. See this one. You see the breaths. The breath, and then you see postures. This is called Iriyapatas. Then activities mean what you call Sampajanya. Body parts, anatomical parts. Elements, Dhatu. Manasikara. And then dead body, anatomical parts. Feeling means Vedanupasana. Here mind, I would say thoughts, Chittanupasana. Then the rest of the 5 are Dhammanupasana. But middle is breath. If you are practicing breath meditation very well, you are doing very well with all the other Satipatthanas. The reference to this idea is Ānāpāna Sati Sutta, Majjhima Nikāya. Let's go there. I think we did that in our retreat. Remember? In our retreat, we did that. Let me type that for you again. Ānāpāna Sati Sutta. If you go to this part, also you can see. In this Ānāpāna Sati Sutta, Majjhima Nikāya 118, Buddha says, if you want to practice 4 Satipatthanas in one exercise, that is what you call by none other than Ānāpāna Sati. If you practice Ānāpāna Sati very well, you can practice all the Satipatthanas in one stretch. But some people prefers to do a little bit of Ānāpāna Sati and then pick one other small Satipatthana exercise. So it depends on your interest, at your discretion. Alright, so today what we learn is what is Sati, what is Sammā Sati. We understood mindfulness is very different from right mindfulness. Right mindfulness is hardly anywhere. The purpose of right mindfulness is very important, that is to become ardent or diligent, then clearly knowing, Atapi Sampajano, then Satimā. Satimā means truly mindful, or rightly mindful, just to the extent necessary for overcoming, most importantly, Abhicca Domanassa. That means covetousness, strong lobha, strong greed, and then grief. If this is not going to be done in any whatever so-called mindfulness or Satipatthana practices, then there you are not practicing what the Buddha truly asks in the suttas. Alright, any questions? You must have a lot of questions. Interesting topic, because everybody is talking about this topic, but yeah. Do we have a mic? Okay. All right. Yes. It's not on. Huh? Is there a button to on?
Bhante.
Yes, let her ask first. Yeah.
Bhante, could you tell me the way of the practice, internal and external, more detail?
Okay. Let's take breath meditation. Now we have to practice it under the second aspect also. First aspect, second aspect. This one, see? First aspect, second aspect. Let's take breath meditation. Now you initially, I think this is what most people are doing. I'm having a long breath, so I watch my long breath. Right? This is normal, everybody knows that. So, after a certain moments of that practice, that certain way of watching over your own breaths, you need to shift your focus for a moment to understand that other people are also breathing and they may also be encountering long breaths. Yeah, you are not going to check that. Don't check. Because it's common sense. It's common sense that everybody breathes. So you are going to bring that common sense into that practice. You are not going to check around. It is just reminding you that this is happening. Yeah. Internally means on your side, externally means what other people do, the same thing. If you take another example, let's say, I would say, being silent, tunhi bhave. It is under the sampajana, full awareness. Let's say now you are silent, right? You are silent. You are not silent for a problem. Huh? You are silent just because you want to be silent. Then, okay, you understand, I am silent now, I don't want to talk. At the same time, I think about other people also can be silent like me. They have their own way of being silent. Then you understand other people also can experience this state of mind, the state of emotion. Just to give you a reference about what other people do in general, not XYZ people, generally other people also practice it. That is what we call by externally, internally, externally, and then both internally, externally. After that, first you, then others, then you and others. Then you are thinking about vipassana attitude. How does tunhi bhava, silence thing arise? How does it stay?
Yeah, it seems like a concept, not exercise.
Concept?
Yeah, it's a kind of concept.
Guideline, actually. It's a guideline how to do it. You are not particularly watching over other people certain thing. You don't have to. Let me tell you the idea. The purpose of this referring to other people is that to avoid creating certain sakkaya ditthi in your practice. Now you understand why the Buddha said that. Because when you are doing everything alone, finally when you do the good things, you coming up with a good sakkaya ditthi. Let's say you are a person who is offering dana all the time, all alone. Many years. Then you may have come up, oh, I'm giving so much dana. You don't know where to stop that mentality. I mean, generosity is good, but when you are looking at what you've been doing, you should have a upekha. Who is bringing you upekha? Nobody is giving you upekha. Sangha will never say, hey, stop your dana. You keep going. It's good. But then, but when you are watching over what other people are doing too, when you have kalyana mittas, you may have certain self parameters, moral parameters at that point. You're kind of balancing out your practice. That way you understand that I got to be careful, I got to be in the middle, I got to be in the upekha. So that is why Buddha talks about this external thing. I think you have to think that way, rather than thinking it's an ideology or a concept or a guideline. Buddha wanted us to stop developing any self-centered thoughts in our meditation. That is why he said Bahitta. Not many people talk about it actually. Of course not. I don't think you know this way before. Bahitta means externally, which means we have to bring our particular Satipatthana exercise to how other people do that particular practice. Not just to evaluate what they are doing. Don't evaluate. Just reminding you they are also doing it. So universalizing that practice into you. So then you are not developing any self-centered, sakkaya ditthi practice. Because sakkaya ditthi is the one that we have to overcome in the first place. Yes, brother. Would you mind standing so other people can see you very well?
Okay. Bhante, so there's another saying that the Buddhist meditation is to reduce the pancha nirvana. So the rest are the Hindu or whatsoever, the nimitta or kasina whatsoever. That's nothing to do with the Buddhist meditation. So is that the correct one? The saying like
Buddhist meditation is about what? Pancha?
Reducing the pancha nirvana. Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I'm talking from the text. None of the texts talk about that. Now, what do you refer to the Buddhist meditation? When you say Buddhist meditation, what do you refer to? What meditations what are the references are you referring to here?
And that's I just listened
Just
to
a thought, right?
Yeah,
It's a
just
popular
thought.
idea,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes.
No,
Because I
you should never go by these popular ideas. You have to check what is given. We have only Sammā Sati. Samatha Vipassana, they are later adaptations by different people. You may find Samatha Vipassana in certain suttas, but our bigger practice is 4 Satipatthanas, and this is the way. Pancha Nivaranas are the minimalist approach to Hindu meditation.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a minimalist approach. Even every Hindu practices it in Himalayas. They want to withdraw them from the Pancha Nivana so that they can get psychic powers, they can read your mind, and then they again expire from that skill, then again they practice it, again they come back. It's that kind of a practice. So when you say Buddhist meditation, you must highlight that Buddhist meditation refers to 4 Satipatthanas and this particular practice, which is an integrated, combined practice with other Noble Eightfold Path factors.
Yeah, but the most recent or like the reason for the past 50 years, somebody like developed the so-called the modern Vipassana or something like that. That's where the Bhante Punaji PhD is saying that, but that one even further derail from this Pancha Nirvana, even far away from the even the Pancha Nirvana. Am I right? Because not even to this Hindu so-called the basic or minimalist, that kind of like the criteria.
What are those monks saying? They say
like the Kasina meditation,
yes,
or the Nimitta meditation. Those are like it's maybe like newly invented, that kind of.
Yeah, it's true.
Yes.
It's true. No argument about it. I think Kasina is mentioned only in the Visuddhimagga. It's a later book. So that's why I encourage you to read from the suttas, not from Visuddhimagga. Visuddhimagga is a very late book in the 5th century BC by South Indian monk, we call him Tamil actually, South Indian, Buddha Ghosha. So he wrote it. There you see, he introduced 40 points of objects, kammatthanas. We don't find kammatthanas in the suttas. They made it a very sophisticated practice, asking people to watch the colors and all that. It's not what we talk about. These Buddhist teachings have been periodically exposed to different people, political cultures, even different Sangha cultures. So we have to understand it without blaming anybody. We just have to understand it. So this is the true original teachings of the Buddha. When you say Buddhist meditation, it's only 4 Satipatthanas and their methods of how you are to practice whatever the Satipatthana exercise.
Yes, because they are naming themselves like the Kasina or like the Nimitta. So basically, if
they come from Visuddhimagga.
Yeah, strictly speaking, maybe they are not even the Buddhists because they are not practicing according.
No. They are Buddhist, but as I told you, as Buddhist history has been growing after the Buddha's passing away, numerous monks have added different things. So Visuddhimagga is one of them. So we have to understand that maybe they may have done it to protect Buddhism at that time, but it's not longer valid now for us. Let's appreciate, but not the true thing. Yeah, that is what we have to understand.
Okay, thank you.
And the Vipassana movement was found by the Burmese Sayados as a response to the colonialism. Because Burma has been experiencing colonialism at a certain point. They wanted to show that your enlightenment movement has some defects, and we have this thing. They stripped out some of the aspects of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Said, this is Vipassana meditation, right? But we don't have this particular Vipassana. We have Vipassana is a part of this Satipatthanas. Samatha is a part of it. Our meditation is 4 Satipatthanas. Once again, I reiterate. Question? Turn off.
Good evening, Bhante's brothers and sisters. Okay, I would like to talking about mindfulness. Is a mental state of focusing one awareness at the present moment, while calmly acknowledging the sensation, the thoughts, and the body's response. You see, okay, when you come to mindfulness in a state of going to meditation, right? On one hand, you observe your breathing. Then the other hand, the thoughts will keep on coming. It's distracting. It's like a positive and negative kind of things is challenging each other, is losing focus in the process, you see. So how would we basically go to a state that we are really focused on the stillness? Thank you.
If you want the stillness, you don't have to go that far. If you practice some other meditation, you will be calm. Right? I would say simple, what you call anapanasati. When you start with anapanasati, your mind will be calm. Actually, you have to understand how do we get to the stillness and clarity with this practice. So you are trying to practice breathing. In this breathing practice, you will get to know your emotions. When you know your emotions better than before, then stillness automatically arises. Once that stillness arises, then you will see things differently than you used to see. Clarity is the second. So I think it is a part of the anapanasati, one of the satipattana's practices.
If it's a positive thoughts, right, it will reinforce your state of thickness. Well, what about these negative thoughts keep coming? It becomes the distractions, in the process.
Because you haven't practiced Sammā Vāyāmo.
So
in Sammā Vāyāmo, because that is why before coming here, what I said, practice Sammā Vāyāmo. Prevent inactive akusalas. That means you haven't had them now already, but they might come at a certain time. So you're going to prevent them coming. Prevention is better than cure, right? And then remove the existing active akusala states. That is what we have to do before meditation, satipatthanas. That's a prior practice, prerequisite for this mindfulness. So without doing as such, you simply sit down and thinking, I'm going to do a very different thing today. It is not going to work. That's why I said it's a combined, integrated practice, step by step.
Thank you.
I'll be asking questions in the review time, on the review day. Keep in mind all these aspects, homework. Yes. Any other questions? How many of you practice meditation every day? A good question, right? Short meditation. Yeah, short one, it's good. Nowadays everything needs to be short. If you want to watch a video, it should be short. Something to eat is grab and eat, right? Everything has to be short. But it's not the timing, it's the quality that you invest in that moment. That's the satipatthanas. Well, how do you bring the quality? Through definition and to refrain. So read couple times of these two, and then you will know, because you already know Vedananupassana, Chittanupassana, Dhamma, everybody talks about it. Then you will know how to do them properly, in the proper way. All right, any more questions? You have another question?
Yeah, sorry, Bhante. Yeah. There's another saying that the bhavana and the meditation is totally different. That kind of like the meaning. Bhavana can be like you doing anything, mindfulness, that can be considered as a so-called practicing. But the meditation is like the Christian context that you need to see it, you need to be something different from the this daily activity, then only you are practicing. Is that correct?
If so, all our words that we use now in English, they are Christian. They are all Christian words. English is not even a language. It is also a culture. English language comes from an English culture. Let me tell you. Now, we don't call bhavana, normally bhavana to satipatthana. Bhavana is a verb actually. Now in Pali, especially in the modern Pali usage, Sri Lankan monks, they used to say bhavana is meditation. But Buddha does not use that word here, Satipatthana Sutta. Bhavana means developing. Actually, bhavana means developing 7 Bojjhangas. I think I talked about it. Where did I talk about? In the retreat. Under the Sabbasava Sutta. Remember? Under the Sabbasava Sutta, I discuss about it. Probably I can show you maybe here. Yeah, Sabbasava Sutta. You can see here, there are 7 ways to overcome akusala states here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Developing, see, 7 Bojjhangas. Now, it is a particular verb to develop the 7 Bojjhangas. You can't universalize this to the whole bhavana practice. But it is a word to develop. Now in our Satipatthana practice, we not only develop, we do other things too, right? Do we, if you see the action, certain actions that we do under Satipatthanas, developing is only one part. What are the other things we are doing in Satipatthanas? Developing, then understanding, then clearly knowing. Sometimes we are emptying out, right? We are emptying. The word mindfulness is also not a good term for Satipatthana, because filling the mind is mindfulness. What about the times that we are emptying the mind? Sometimes we empty the mind. We kind of, program our mind, right? So it is a word, but you cannot refer to the Satipatthanas as a whole, but certainly it has certain actions. In Sri Lanka they say bhavana, samatha bhavana, vipassana bhavana. It's a use that was made by senior Sangha, probably the Mahavihara traditions. But we don't find it here in any of the Satipatthanas. You don't find it in the, what you call, Dhammacakka Sutta, Satchavibhanga, Mahachattārisaka Sutta, to Satipat. They never use it. They only say, this is what they say. Let's go back. The word that they are saying, using is here's Satchibhanga Sutta, right? Idāvuso, Katama chāvuso Sammā Sati, Idāvuso bhikkhu, kāye kāyanupasse viharati, ātāpi sampajāno, satimā vinaya loke, abhijjā dōmanassam. That means it is a practice of certain actions. You could say it's a developing, but it has other things too, emptying out, clearly knowing, right? So there are many other activities attached to this Satipatthana practice. So I would rather say placing right mindfulness near or with your other activities. Could be you can't sort of, cherry pick only one Pali word. It was a constructed Pali word. In Pali you see bhavana, but you don't see it here. And in some suttas, Buddha says metta bhaveta, practice metta, but he does not say bhaveta or maybe bhavana to Satipatthanas. Yeah, makes sense? It is not wrong, but it was not given in the text. The word is good, but it only says one part of the Sammā Sati. It's not inclusive then. Right? All right, any other questions? If not, we're going to transfer the good karmas. Looks like you know. For next Monday, we will be discussing Sammā Samadhi, the last noble path factor. After that, we have the review. and then we are continuing after that. May all the good karmas that we've been accumulating today, especially by engaging in a very fruitful discussion about what is Sammā Sati and how it is different from Sati or mindfulness, be transferred to all the departed ones. May all the good karmas we've been accumulating be transferred to all these departed ones. May they be well and happy. If they were reborn in a place of pain, discomfort, may they be able to release from those painful realms. If they are reborn in a place of comfort, happiness, may they be able to improve those lives and practice more Dhamma, and finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayo. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika be well and happy. May they share all these good karmas. May they bless all of you for good health, quality of life, prosperity, safety, especially for your Dhamma journey. May Deva, Naga, Mahidika finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Akasatta ca bhummatta Deva, Naga Punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tuluka sasanang akasatta ca bhummatta Mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhang tudesanang akasatta ca Deva Naga Mahiddika punyantang anumod chirang rakhang tumang paranti chirang rakhang tutvang sadati. Ittavata ca ammehi sambatang punya sampadang sabbe deva sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata ca ammehi sambatang punya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti siddhya. Ittavata ca sambatang punya sampadang sabbe satta sabba sangpatti siddhya. May we be in the company of the noble friends and not with the Papa Mittas till we attain the Nibbana. Thinking thus, we're going to make a wish. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo yava nibbana pattiya. One of the reasons why we transfer good karmas to departed ones and share good karmas to Deva, Naga, Mahidika also is to minimize any self-centeredness about the punya karmas, good karmas we are doing. So kind of diminishing all these aspects. Finally, may all the good karmas which we've been accumulating today be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana silis nichang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti iminati saminshatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And the sutta study for today is over, and I'm wishing you a good night, and till you see next Monday. Take care.